Well, hello and welcome to another 360 Timmy. Today we're in West Hythe in Kent and we're walking along the banks of the Royal Military Canal. And my special guest this week is Jackie Mortimer.
Hello, Tim.
Hello, Jackie. Welcome.
Thank you.
Jackie is Artistic Director of the Instep Youth Dance Company based here in Hythe. It's been going for 32 years. She's also a retired Vice Principal of Brockhill Park Performing Arts College, which is where the dance company is in residence. So Jackie, tell us a little bit about your journey into education. How do you find yourself in Hythe teaching at Brockhill, I guess, to begin with?
Okay, I'm just going to correct you on the time, Tim, because it started Instep in 1980. So
1980?
how many years is that? That's 40 something, isn't it?
40,
43, I think.
43, wow, that is.
Yeah, 43. So what happened to me was I went to college to do PE. At the time I was living in the Midlands and I went to Coventry College to do PE. And at that time, modern dance, as it was called, was becoming popular, and there was a big movement of modern dance in America, which was coming over to the UK, and it was starting to filter into training colleges. So I just clipped the end of that, but I already knew that I loved dance because I'd done ballet and things as a child. So I came out of Coventry, and during my time at college, I met my husband-to-be, and he wanted to come back to Kent where his family were based, and I was happy to come down to Kent. My family were going to move south anyway, so I applied for a couple of jobs, one in Maidstone, went for that interview and got offered the job, but the following day I had this peach of a job at Brockhill, or St Leonard's as it was then, and
It was an all girls school then?
All girls school.
Yeah.
At the bottom, what is now St Augustine's Primary School. So I walked up the hill towards Saltwood Village, looked back over the sea, arrived at the school, saw grass tennis courts, fantastic gym. I thought, I have to get this job, And I did get this job, but it was for English, PE, with a bit of dance. And that's where the story began.
So from teaching, how did Instep evolve then?
Okay, so about 7 or 8 years in, when I'd had one cohort of students for maybe all of their time in school, they said, well, you know, we've loved dance in school. What are you going to do about making it available to us when we've left school? So then I said, well, we'll start a little class. So we started a little class, probably had about 10 people, and that took off. And then I had a request from Southland School, which is the Marsh Academy now, to say, can you come and do the same thing there? So I went down there, did the same thing. Numbers grew, amalgamated the two classes together. And then I got pregnant, had my daughter, and took about 5-6 months off. And then it became obvious that I needed to do classes for little ones because I'd got my own little one. So started a class with little ones, and that took me to teaching their mums. And before I knew where they were, I was teaching their siblings, and there was 130, 140 people at
Wow.
Instep. And it's never changed. Those numbers have stayed the same for the last 40 years.
And I think I saw my first Instep show in 1991, and you had quite a lot of sponsorship there. What I remember about it was just on a massive scale. It was like seeing something in the West End. You'd converted the school gym, which had a stage and curtains, but you turned it on its side.
Yeah.
You used the whole room as a giant auditorium, professional lights, smoke, lasers, all that kind of stuff, video projection. I mean, that was a staggering production, and you've done that every year.
Yes.
Pretty much since, haven't you?
Yeah, we have. I guess when I started, obviously there were spaces in school, which were largely school halls or gyms, but they weren't fit for purpose for a dance performance. So we had to do some work with things like, we would take the minibus out, go and get some blocks, primary school blocks, so you made stages, use those to create a raised auditorium. We brought in dance floors so that we got rid of the slippery wooden floor. And then after the schools amalgamated, Brockhill amalgamated with St Leonard's to become a mixed school. Not long after that, a new head teacher came to lead the school, Tony Ling, and it was his vision that we should become a performing arts college. So that was the turning point. So with that status came a capital project, and we were able to convert the gym to what is now a very successful theatre space, which has its own rig. So when it comes to annual shows and things, then we bring in some more kit, we hire some more kit, and we make it as professional as we can, because we want to create, for the young people who come to Instep and their families, we want to create something really special.
And it certainly comes across that way, because every time I see it, it gets better every year is the phrase, but it is very much the case. And I must be on 4th generation now.
Yes, you must be.
I mean, that's incredible, isn't it? It's the legacy. You must see your original students coming back with their children and
I've now got
grandchildren.
grandparents now.
Crikey.
So some of my oldest Instep members, I'm not going to reveal any ages, but they've moved into their 50s or early 60s. So they bring their grandchildren, and it's wonderful. And now my teaching team, who are, to start with, there were 3 or 4 of us leading Instep. Now there are 15 teachers working for Instep, and their children come now as well. So we've created a family affair, and I don't use the word family loosely. So what we're trying to do is create this sense of family, commitment to one another. So although the medium of learning is dance, that's not actually the main thing. The main thing is that we're giving them a place to feel safe, a place to take risks, a place to learn about themselves and how they fit in with their peer group, a place to be amazing and to feel really successful about something. And all of those things are transferable into the world of work and to the world of education. And in education, dance goes up and down depending on the government that we have, and the amount of commitment government will give to art subjects, particularly performing arts subjects, which aren't considered quite as highbrow as the other arts. So we've weathered the storms, we've weathered the ups, we've weathered the downs, but somehow or other, with the support of Brockhill, who are our partner school and it's where we're based, we've been able to sustain regular activity, and we've been able to have use of their spaces. And indeed, Brockhill now support us with a bursary fund, which allows us to give some students free places, and that's become very important since COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. Cost of living crisis and everything.
Yeah.
I guess we kind of skated over, but what all the time that you were running Instep, you had a full-time job and a family.
Oh yes.
So that must be, because you know what putting a show on's one thing, but it's all the behind the scenes stuff, isn't it? It's all the public liability insurance, the
production
sponsorship,
values. Well, I did my MA in there as well at some stage. So
yes, you did.
I did. I think when Instep was about 10 years old, I did my MA. So I was MA, leading a department, had a young child at that stage, and I was very busy at school. Anybody who's been a teacher knows that, you know, life at school is busy. But it just never entered my head that I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I could see the value of it, both in terms of what I was getting at Instep, but what I was getting as a teacher in school as well, and how the two things conspired to make something better. So if a student was doing really well at Instep, not so well at school, then there was something to work on, something to help them at school. So sometimes teachers, where they weren't doing very well in their subjects, came to watch them do a dance show and saw another side to this child. And, you know, that really helps them. They still, even in today, when it's not cool to be praised, still like a quiet word of approval, especially from somebody where they might be struggling.
Yeah.
So
And
it's good.
I guess it's also important to say that not all of your students in Instep go to Brockhill.
Oh no, that's right, Tim. Yeah, currently 5 secondary schools in the local region. I think 4 of the 5 secondary schools, their dance departments are led by ex-Instep members who went through Instep, went off to university, came back from university and working in the region. And when I say the region, it's South East Kent up to Paddockwood, over to Ashford, down to the Marsh and around Hythe and Folkestone. And then we have another 14 primary schools, 14, 15 primary schools. And we're looking as well to develop some work with local primary schools so that the team of teachers at Brockhill are going to spend half a day each, there's 5 of those teachers, in local primary schools, kind of introducing dance and developing the link between Brockhill and their primary feeder school. So that's a new venture, which I think will bring us even more enthusiasm and more people who want to join us, which might be a problem because I'm not sure where we're going to put everybody.
I mean, this is incredible because you retired a few years ago.
I retired 13 years
13
ago.
years ago, wow.
Yes.
And so at that point of retirement, did you consider whether or not you would carry on Instep, or you just wanted to
I
have a
did.
rest?
I think you were at that show, and I think you were filming it, in
Yeah.
fact. Yes, that was, I saw that as my curtain call. And then there was no natural successor. And so I was looking at these children thinking, they're expecting this to be here next year. And so each time I think I'm coming to an end, I look at the next lot of children and think, how can you tell them it can't happen? So whilst I can, I will. And I have a very good team around me now. And so we're beginning to find ways for legacy. And that's got to be what the next year or 2 years is about, really.
But nonetheless, you're expanding what Instep does still.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's not ramping down, it's ramping up, if anything, isn't it, on
Yeah,
that
it
front?
is. And the higher the bar goes, the more challenging it becomes to reach that standard each and every year. So I'm always looking for what can we do that's different? What have we not done before that we ought to be doing? And I'm helped in that because I work with a professional dance company, Leonard Dance, and they act as my professional mentors. And it's very good to work with them outside of the regular education system because they're professional artists working as professional dancers. So I'm able to have an eye on the professional world of dance, and we commission their dancers and their directors and some of the contacts they've made in the professional world of dance to come and make work with us, which takes the children to the next level, the students to the next level, and also provides some professional development for my team of teachers. So it's a very good use of funds.
Absolutely. So what, over the years, I guess you've faced many challenges: funding, as you say, changing governments, changing approach to education, the impact on arts. But here and now, what are the challenges for Instep?
Okay, so here and now the legacy is the big thing. Who wants to take it on? When it does move on, what is the shape? What is the form of it? Because it doesn't need to be the same. It just needs somebody with a vision to see where it could go. We depend on the support of the school who host us. That's a challenge because currently we have the support of the principal there, Charles Joseph, and if he reaches retirement and somebody succeeds him that doesn't want to support us, then I guess that it comes to an end. But I'm trying now to make sure that Instep is in a place so much a part of the school that nobody will want to come and shoehorn us out.
Yeah.
That they'll see the value of it, both for the students who are taking part and for the community, because we really do offer something for our local community. And I hope that any head teacher coming in will recognise that.
Because it's incredible. I think you touched upon it earlier. It isn't actually just the students that do dance. I mean, it's some of the technicians you've had over the years.
Yeah.
I went to a show, the show a couple of weeks ago, and caught up with one of your former dancers, Arif, and he said he's a stunt performer now in the film industry.
Yeah.
And he said if it wasn't for Instep, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I wouldn't have that confidence. So
Which is wonderful.
it is, isn't it? That's a
Yeah.
really good legacy, and
Yeah.
I think certainly I count myself in this actually, but you know, a lot of people in the technical world who've worked with you as well.
Yeah,
They've
I've found a foothold. So we've got a very impressive alumni of students who use their dance experience to go on and do dance things, but equally have used other things to go on and become successful in the business world. You're one of them, and there have been other people like Zach Dennis, who's very good at working in recruitment, and there's been Carl McCabe, who's danced with us and is now our artistic director for technical work, and he's now a primary school teacher, and the list goes on. I have an alumni of over 40 who have used the Instep experience to map their way into the world of work.
That's incredible. I mean, as I say, I'm so proud of you because the legacy of Insteppers and Brockhill is incredible, and it's all down to you. So
Oh, thank you, Tim.
yeah, it's been really great talking to you, Jackie.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to have this walk with you.
And I look forward to coming to the next show.
Absolutely. We're only 11 months away.
That's it.
Into planning. I've been doing planning today.
Good stuff. We'll see it then.
See you then.
Take care.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim.